Good afternoon, all. We're going to go ahead and get started with our Family Weekend 2019 webinar for today. As you can see from the host name up here, this is Mark Pontius, your Director of Parent and Family Programs, speaking with you this afternoon. As we're moving through this session, please use that chat box, the chat feature, to give us your questions, and we'll take a look at them and either answer them as we go or answer them at the very end. I'm reserved a little bit of time. We're going to get started and hop right in. So a little bit about where we're going today. First, we're going to talk about some logistics type information for the week or the weekend, like parking, ticket pickup, etc. And then we'll move into some more general tips for the weekend, how to make the most of it, how to keep it smooth for you and your students. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about conduct during the weekend. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, we'll wrap up with some dedicated time for questions and answers. But please do enter those questions as we go along. So a little bit about logistics for this weekend. As you know, there is no a way around it. This is the busiest weekend in Oxford. It's actually busier than move-in weekend, and it is busier than commencement weekend, if you can imagine that. Some of the logistics pieces here, parking and transportation. To start off, every single parking lot on our campus will be open for public parking beginning Friday at noon through Monday at 6 a.m. With some limited exceptions for individual events. So the lots around Yager Stadium for football and John Mulaney on Saturday evening. And so there are no visitor permits required for that weekend. Meters are also free on campus all weekend. Garages do operate on their normal schedules and rates, including parking for football and John Mulaney in the North Garage and hockey in the South Garage. This does still mean, of course, that disabled spaces and, accessible spaces and fire lanes are enforced, but otherwise no permit is required to park on campus. What I do highly encourage you to do as a little bit of a piece of advice is to, especially on Saturday, find a place to park, maybe near the end of where you're going to finish your day, and then use the transit system or walk to get around town if that's possible. This will save you a lot of headache and reduce traffic on all the streets. All of the buses around campus, like the one you see here in the on the slideshow, all of our Butler County Regional Transit Authority buses, our campus shuttles are all free for everyone this weekend, so no fare required or passes or anything. We're also adding a route that typically doesn't run on Saturdays. That's known as the P2 Park and Ride. That goes between our 3 largest parking lots around campus and into the middle of campus. So those lots are the big one by the football and basketball venues by Millette, the one down by the police station and the equestrian center known as the Dittmer lot, and the Chestnut Fields lot, which is on the southwest side of campus. Other Saturday routes, of course, will run as normal, and you can see the routes and times and such at butlercountyrta.com. And they've also got an app called Bus Tracker, and that's where you can see real-time GPS dots of all the buses to see exactly when one is going to be coming your way. Please do note, though, that the City of Oxford does still enforce many of its parking regulations that weekend, so that includes normal running of meters and permits for certain places in the city and those types of things. One important note is Campus Avenue, which is the far western boundary of campus, by the Campus Avenue building and the education building and hall auditorium and those types of things. Those are all City of Oxford meters, so making sure you're not parking there either, because those are, or paying the meter, because those are enforced and run on their normal schedule. On to a little bit about tickets and more event-specific information. For athletic tickets, the athletic ticket office in Millette Hall is open regularly 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. If you have questions leading up to the weekend, I would definitely encourage you to call now or get a hold of them, and I'll give contact information in a moment. On that weekend, I'll try to go chronologically. The ticket office in Millette before volleyball on Friday and also on Sunday opens 1 hour before the game and is open through the end of the 3rd set of the volleyball match. And a valid family weekend hockey or football tickets, if you show that at the Millette ticket office, you'll get a free ticket for the volleyball game. And they just show it, and they're going to give it right back to you and give you a free volleyball ticket. And that could be a print-at-home ticket, like what you think of as a traditional ticket that was mailed to you, or a mobile ticket. So just a ticket for either hockey game or the football game gets you free admission to the volleyball games. And you can also, of course, buy a ticket as well if you didn't go, if you aren't going to the hockey or football games. The athletic ticket office at Goggin before the hockey games on Friday and Saturday nights opens 1 hour prior to the game through the second intermission, so between the second and third periods. And then the athletic ticket office at Millett Hall is open for football on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And they then move their operation down to Yeager Stadium and reopen at 1 p.m. Until halftime at the ticket office in Yeager. And overall, the athletics ticket office can be reached at 513-529-4295. Again, 513-529-4295. Or their email address, redhawktix@miamioh.edu, and that's Tix, T-I-X. One reminder, again, for football, the Friends and Family football package is not available for purchase on that game day, so purchase now. And one more reminder too, all full-time Oxford campus students get in free with their Miami ID to all home regular season athletics events. A little bit more about football. Game Day Central is a page or a series of pages, a website that's within MiamiRedHawks.com. So if you go to MiamiRedHawks.com and then get yourself to football, then one of the links at the very top is Game Day Central, which has a lot more in-depth information about football, including parking, seating maps, all of that. And parking does fill in the lots around Yeager. They open 5 hours prior to kickoff. So this year that's 9:30 a.m. The game starts at 2:30 p.m. And parking at the gate for the Millett lots is going to be $20 per vehicle. For other events, on Friday evening and Saturday evening for hockey, the South Garage offers parking for $5 until it fills. There's also limited street parking in that area. For John Mulaney on Saturday night, the large lots around Millett and Yeager, the same lots as the football lots, will be $20 at the gate. The North Garage near the baseball field and Farmer School Business will have parking for $5 until it fills. Overall, for events in Yeager Stadium and Millett, also be prepared for bag checks at the door, something relatively new this year. Tickets to the box office, so for non-athletic events like John Mulaney, the Glee Club and Collegiate Chorale concert, and the brunch and silent auction on Sunday, the box office is open standard business hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, and can be reached at 513-529-3200, 513-529-3200, or just boxoffice@miamioh.edu. And they will be open as usual through 5 p.m. on Friday, and then available for phone and email assistance on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. And then for specific with John Mulaney tickets, they'll be at Millett Hall on Saturday evening starting at 7 p.m. On that evening. And if you have questions about any of those ticketed events, like I said, I'd recommend contacting either the athletics or the box office, whichever one it falls under, now rather than waiting until you're here for the weekend. And I do believe that the family weekend football tickets were being mailed out. I think they started mailing them yesterday, and I think even doing the mobile delivery. So those things should be coming your way here soon. On to eating during the weekend and how you're going to get nourished and keep energized. So eating on campus for those students that have a meal plan, they do have some guest meal plans that are made for them to provide a meal to someone other than themselves. Usually the meal plans have 5 guest meals per semester. Many families also plan to eat some meals at concessions during the athletic events or during the entertainment on Saturday nights, the John Mulaney show. And finally, we do have the family weekend feast in Martin Dining Hall on Saturday nights, and it's timed essentially to go between the football game and the John Mulaney show. So it's really convenient if you're going to either of those. And then on Sunday, we have the MAP and MUSEF brunch and silent auction in Armstrong Student Center, and I believe there are still tickets for that one. And the Martin Dining Hall one on Saturday, there's no reservations. Just come on in. Students can use a meal card swipe, and otherwise, I think the price for dinner is $12.95 or $12.49 at the door. Many of your students, of course, unsurprisingly, may want to eat off campus if they live on campus, whether that's in Oxford or farther out of town. A couple pointers: considering timing and not trying to eat lunch right at noon or dinner right at 6 or 7 p.m. Those are, of course, the busiest times, but I do hear and see families year to year saying that going on off time, so like early or middle afternoon to eat lunch or something like that, actually makes it not nearly as bad, or wait times. Many places in Oxford do not take reservations, so be aware of that as well. And don't be afraid to look outside. Nearby towns like Hamilton, Middletown have great places to eat, and a simple Google search will bring up a ton of restaurants in those areas as well. And I do see family weekend traffic all the way down in Hamilton, which is about 25 minutes away, specifically around dinner times on Saturday. And then I've seen many families DIY it, doing a cookout at their students' off-campus place or their students' friends' off-campus place, and tailgating in the Jaeger lot on Saturday for lunch. Just another couple options to consider, which then prevents you from dealing with the crowds in restaurants in town. Some general advice for the weekend. This is my 6th family weekend at Miami, and there are some common threads that I've really picked up over the years. Some general expectations, as I mentioned, it is a crowded weekend, and just knowing that and knowing that you'll roll with it, and that there will be lines in places and stuff can go a long way towards decreasing the stress if you just think it's going to be a little bit of a busy weekend on campus. That can help a lot. Every year at large events like family weekends, orientation, move-in day, I see families more than you might think bickering or arguing with each other, often over something extremely small because of just the overall stress of the weekend. And remember the reason you're coming. You're coming to see your students, right? Yes, all the events are great, but keeping your student at the center and seeing events as the way to spend time together rather than the center of your experience itself can really decrease that tension and increase your patience. Time with your students. I often hear that students don't want to do every single event during the weekend and want a mix of scheduled and unscheduled or unstructured time with their family. The schedule itself can be helpful to giving you things to talk about and things to do rather than just hanging out in their residence hall room all weekend. But you want to find unscheduled time too, so finding that mix and just time being together can really go a long way. And of course, that's different for every family. Some of you might be wondering what you're going to talk about. Good things we typically see are asking the student to show you the things they've talked to you about over the phone or on FaceTime, you know, their favorite place to eat, to study, just to hang out. Those types of things can really mean a lot if they get a chance to show them to you, and so asking them to do that is good. I see a lot of families being shown around campus by their students. You might have had that campus tour, you know, in the last year and a half or so in the process. But asking them to show you around really means a lot for them to be able to do that for you, because they're, of course, the new expert of campus. Check in on them, of course, on their academic and social transition, how they're doing, all of those things. But I would say don't grill them about it. If you're grilling them about it, that's going to cause a lot of tension sometimes. And so remembering a light questioning about those things goes a long way. And time without your students. So don't be completely surprised if they tell you they have plans for something over the weekends. They might have a small something with some friends or a group project meeting even. Remember, this is the second half of the semester. We're in thick at this point for our students as they make the turn towards the second half. And so really, I guess you should be proud that they have something planned, right? Something planned with friends means they're connecting with folks or they're doing their homework, all of those things. But this is a good question to ask before you arrive in Oxford so that, again, it's not a tension point that arises like when you're here in the spur of the moment and they all of a sudden tell you, I'm going out with my friends to go find food or whatever. Also, it's perfectly acceptable to attend any of the events during the weekend without your student, especially the early morning ones. I often see folks at the farmer's market and other Saturday events without their student who is definitely still asleep. It's a good time to see other events and to bring, you know, if you've got younger children coming with you. Finally, we know that not every family can make it to family weekend for whatever reason. And if your student's roommate doesn't have family in town, invite them to join you where feasible. That goes a long way. You might not be able to take them to a meal, but they could join you on some of the other on-campus events during the weekends. It's a good way for you to get to know them and a good way for them to feel included and not quite so isolated on a weekend when everyone, quote unquote, seems to have their family in town. Similarly, if you're not headed here for the weekend, send your student that extra note of encouragement or maybe arrange for a delivery of their favorite local food just to let them know that you're thinking of them. A little bit about conduct during the weekends. So you can't see me, but getting up on my soapbox a little bit about you being a role model during the weekends. You might not know it, but they're always watching you. We want you to serve as a positive role model during the weekend. Most of this is around alcohol consumption, but overall behavior as well. And so I want to inform you a little bit about the applicable laws and how they might play out during the weekend. As you know, of course, 21 is the law in Ohio, as it is in every state, but it is individual states. They're just all at 21 at this point to consume and purchase alcohol. But in the state of Ohio, if you didn't know already, people 18 and older are able to enter bars. Of course, they still have to be 21 to purchase the alcohol. Then one exception to the 21-year-old piece is that establishments may choose to sell alcohol to a person who is 18 to 20 if that person is in the presence of their parent or guardian. So, you know, we see a lot of parents come to town for a good weekend and go out to dinner and their student has a glass of wine as well. That's perfectly acceptable, right, and perfectly legal. It's up to the individual establishment, and they can refuse to serve someone that's under 21 even if their parent is present. But more importantly, remember, it is still illegal to give alcohol to your students' friends or roommates. And if you do choose to provide to your students, it is still illegal to be intoxicated at any age, and they can be cited even if they become intoxicated in your presence and then leave your presence, because intoxication is, again, illegal at any age. Although beer is available for purchase in Yager Stadium, we do not sell to parents who intend to provide it to their under 21-year-old children. So just know that. And overall, just don't be that parent. A couple of things. Don't buy them alcohol for after you leave. When you leave family weekend, we see that more than you think, and we see it. That doesn't escape our vision. And please, please, please don't indulge them in some of the day drinking events that are going on in uptown bars. Please avoid those as well. And don't attempt to relive your younger years, right? We want to model responsible consumption of alcohol. Like I said, that glass of wine or a beer at dinner, not getting severely intoxicated and doing shots with your students. I've heard way too many stories of students having to take care of their overly intoxicated parents. It's just not cool, right? And not aligned with our values. And so please don't do that either. Okay, my lecture is over. I'm putting my soapbox away, and that's the information that I wanted to make sure that I gave you about Family Weekend. So what questions do you have for me that I didn't answer that can help make your Family Weekend the best time to come back? Don't forget to use that chat box. Good question just came in. Will the orientation meal cards be operational during Family Weekend? They certainly are. They are good through the end of fall semester. I don't know exactly what date is technically qualified as the end, but yes, they will be operational during Family Weekend, can be used at any dining location, and are essentially like a gift card. And then one more are the open air lots, our surface parking lots, free over the weekends. They are free during Family Weekends. Some of the lots during the semester that aren't Family Weekends have specific permit requirements even on the weekends, especially the ones in the center part of campus. But again, parking free during the weekend during all of our surface lots and our meters. No permit needed, so no visitor permit, no nothing. Other questions? Seeing none, I am going to thank you all for being here today. And if you do have questions that come up, please don't hesitate to call my office or send us an email. Our email is just parents@miamioh.edu, and our office phone line is area code 513 513-529-3436. Again, parents at miamioh.edu, and 513-529-3436. And one other piece to look at is miamioh.edu/Family Weekend if you haven't been to the Family Weekend website quite yet. And I look forward to seeing you all. This is my favorite weekend. Though it is extremely busy, it is my favorite weekend to see how excited y'all are to come back and to see your students, and how excited your students are to see you. So thank you very much, and enjoy the day. We'll see you in just over 2 weeks.